Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind, the reunion. Let's watch.
Is coming from Micah.
Oh my gosh.
What's up?
Yay, I wanted to get involved. Okay. Okay, mine's for Jimmy. What did your friend think about Chelsea sharing your little secret with the world?
Wow, they are going for the jugular. There's so many times when I'm watching the show by the end, and I'm like, why did they ask this person about that? So, Jimmy doesn't look happy with that question. So, yeah, I imagine Jimmy will give a diplomatic answer. He has to consider, like if he was free to answer, he might really express anger at Chelsea. But she's sitting right there, it's being recorded, so I'm guessing he's not going to go full in that direction. I think what could he say? It's kind of a fun game to play. What could he say that would ride the line? I think he could say, well, I understand where Chelsea was coming from. I understand how it would feel like a threat. I'll tell you, it's not a threat. We're just friends. And everyone that knows us knows that. It's more like a sister and brother relationship, but there's nothing there. And regarding what Chelsea did, when you're in fights, you say stuff that you regret later. She apologized for it later, or I'm guessing she would. So, I'm just moving on. That's not my style of response, but I can imagine Jimmy saying something like that.
She didn't deserve that, and she didn't love hearing it. She was there for me as a friend and someone that loved me, someone that wanted to support me. I've got a ton of dude friends in my life, but when I'm talking to guys, I'm not getting emotional with the fellas. Like, all the girls.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm glad he at least has that outlet. He's saying, with my guy friends, I can't be emotional, I can't be human, I can't talk about anything of any depth. And so, now, I have guy friends, or really friends of any gender, that I also don't go into deep things with because we just don't have that vibe. But he's saying that he does have that with her, with this friend. Okay.
Getting ahead of myself, but I told you out of confidence. And they felt, one of them is really pissed off at me for mentioning it.
Yeah.
So I told her about them in the pods. I was very forward. It was also, she had an ex-boyfriend that she still hangs out with. She mentioned.
I don't hang out with him.
Interesting. He's not being very diplomatic. I thought by now, a year later, he'd be more diplomatic. But it is interesting that he's saying that the woman, the friend, is pretty upset, which he predicted, and upset at Jimmy for even telling Chelsea, which, yeah, but I get it that Jimmy would want, because if I were Chelsea, I would want to be told that. I wouldn't want to, because I think what he's thinking is, look, I have a lot of friends, and I have some women friends, and I know Chelsea can get insecure, or at the very least might, and so I want to, as soon as I can, tell Chelsea, because at that point Jimmy's pretty sure he's going to marry Chelsea. I want to introduce her right away so that there's no questions, and I can't be accused of withholding that later, because I'm sure Jimmy wasn't like enthusiastic about that meeting, because that was one of the only friend meetings, if not the only friend meeting that Chelsea had with his friends. So he's probably thinking, so I want to be the responsible person with integrity. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her, and I can tell her things in confidence. She's not going to out me. She's going to protect this, and I'm going to introduce her, and I'm going to tell her. Because if I don't tell her now, and I tell Chelsea at some point in the future, well, I could be accused legitimately of lying by omission this whole time, and that could be really hurtful to her. It's like, wait, so I met that woman and I was nice to her, and you, all this the whole time, like, am I some sort of chump? That could happen. So he told her, and then Chelsea just betrayed that trust, and she could have said that off camera. They could have continued fighting off camera, right? But she didn't. I don't think she was I don't think she had herself under control. I don't think she had any control over anything that was happening in that moment regarding what she was feeling and doing. Not that that lets her off the hook exactly, but...
I'll be honest, but I hated all this came out so bad, and I can take it. They didn't deserve it is the main way I can put it. But I would be robbing her if I didn't tell her. I told her because I was planning to get married to her, and she needed to know every bit of me.
I get that.
Yeah. That's that, Yeah, just imagine that, like, you're all in. And that again points towards the legitimacy of his love and dedication. I don't think many people would question that, but if he was illegitimately on the show, why would he tell her that detail? It was completely irrelevant, but it is relevant if you plan on marrying her and spend the rest of your life with her and might occasionally run into her.
For sure.
I'm curious, the rest of you, how do you feel about this situation of Jimmy sharing a secret with Chelsea and her sharing that secret on camera?
Golly, they just are unrelenting. I think it's fair, and it's what the audience wants. I would ask Chelsea. I wouldn't ask the rest of the people. I would ask Chelsea, give her a chance at least to apologize. I don't know if she will.
Who thinks that a secret shared in confidence shouldn't have been repeated on camera? Yeah?
Maybe don't say the bean dip thing. That was in confidence too.
I mean, they're asking... I hate how on this show things fall down gender lines around this sort of thing. And I don't know if we saw hardly anybody raise their hand, even including the guy.
Who thinks that a secret shared in confidence shouldn't have been repeated on camera?
Yeah, I only see him, Jeremy, raising his hand, no one else. Everyone else is like, yeah. Or I don't know. What? No. They should all be raising their hand. It's obvious. Unless they're on board with the notion that it was some sort of nefarious thing that Jimmy has a history of dating and having sex with people, and one of those people is a friend of his. Who cares?
Yeah?
Maybe don't say the bean dip thing. That was in confidence too, so...
Say the what?
That's interesting. So he's even getting out ahead of any sort of hypocrite accusation, because he's like, I don't think she should have said that, and I shouldn't have said, because it was a very similar thing that I did to Laura.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing.
Are we going back to bean?
Well, do you guys think that she had a right to say that on camera?
I think if they had the conversation in confidence, then I don't think that she should have. But I also get, I'm going to give Chelsea some grace. It's an emotional experience. And
I think that also if it was something that was affecting her.
I wish that Clay was given a chance to complete that idea. I think what Clay was saying is, I understand. He's saying, I'm going to give Chelsea some grace because I understand how emotional, how charged that situation was. And sometimes you do things that you regret later.
But I also get, I'm going to give Chelsea some grace. It's an emotional experience. And
I think that also if it was something that was affecting her and affecting their relationship, then she has to show it. I'm sure a lot of her comments back to him and feelings back to him were coming from a place of hurt from that information.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I care what Micah would say. It's not like she's this wise, old, relationship expert, but I feel like I don't understand. I just want to rewind this.
experience. And
I think that also if it was something that was affecting her and affecting their relationship, then she has to show it. I'm sure a lot of her comments back to him and feelings back to him were coming from a place of hurt from that information.
If it's affecting her, she has to say it. No, she doesn't. That's ridiculous. Behind closed doors, in front of the camera, no. She doesn't have to say it. It's not a compulsion. It's not a rule. It's not a law.
100%. It's our real life relationship. That was a huge issue, and it was really sitting on me, and I apologized more than, and I could never apologize enough for how horrible I feel for bringing it up and ruining that trust.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's all we needed. Jimmy and Chelsea. So, okay. Everyone else, I don't understand. Jeremy's the only one that I agree with, really.
Because it ruined everything, and it was just a true issue that I just couldn't get off my chest, and it coming out was just, I forget about the cameras. I didn't even realize the cameras were there.
Yeah, I believe that. One, the emotional charge of it all. I mean, she didn't forget, I'm sure, but the cameras are there so often that you just stop editing yourself. Also, there was alcohol involved, I believe, in that one, right? Maybe all three. And then all three of the big fights they had. And then also talking to my contact on the show, the way she talks about how they try to create a situation where the crew is not intrusive. My contact told me that there was a scene that they shot. The couple was on a boat. Maybe it was Chelsea and Kwame. Anyway. And what another reality TV show would do is that, it was a little boat. What another reality TV show would do is they would just have the cameras on the boat with them, right? Because then you only have to rent one boat and you can directly talk to the talent. But what she said was that they had another boat with all the crew, and not only that, but they were pretty far away, and they have lapel mics, so but they have cameras from afar zooming in, and the extraneous crew, the crew that doesn't have to operate a camera, of which there are many, the sound people and the producers and other kind of assistants, I think typically what she was telling me was there's at least 2 camera operators, there's a sound guy, there's like the main leader of that pack, which is I think called a producer, and then an assistant producer, and then another person who I think is kind of like a gopher of some sort, so I don't know how many people that is, but it's a number. And all those non-camera people, because they don't have to be up with the cameras, had to lay flat on their back on the boat and stay out of view. And of course, those scenes go on really long, way longer than we see. So just imagine, I mean, it's not a huge hardship. And also she told me that when they're shooting scenes in those apartments, that they will only have the camera crew with the couple, and then all the extraneous people are in a second bedroom, because they rent these two bedroom places for at least 2 bedrooms for the couples, and then one bedroom is for the couple, but one bedroom is permanently for all the crew when they're over and filming to be out of the way and to watch the video feed and listen and talk amongst themselves and make sure that everything is operating correctly. And sometimes they will maybe pop in and ask a question, but they don't always do that. And the reason why they have to keep track of things, apparently, is because there are multiple camera crews and stories happening all the time. Think about the pods, all the different stories that are happening, and no one person can keep track of all that. So you have to have teams of people that are keeping track of everything. And then there's a leader on that team, and then they gather information and they report up a summary, because they don't want to say watch the dailies, because it's like 5 hours of, or maybe more, right? Because you have multiple cameras, so like 10 hours of footage. What the leaders are hoping is that each team will give them a short summary, and then the producers can compile that summary together and kind of keep track of things so that they know what needs to happen moving forward, right? Because it's always this moving target for them. They might think, oh, maybe we should help that couple by giving them an expensive date, or, oh, they just broke up. Okay, well, now we got to do this kind of, they're always adjusting. And anyway, so you imagine with Jimmy and Chelsea that a lot of effort is going into making the people as comfortable as possible. It's also, I guess you could argue, manipulative, because the more real they are as a couple, the more they will disclose, right? Which I guess did happen.
It was just a huge argument that just blew up, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, we've talked about it 100 times at this point, and we even tried to work through it.
Yeah, that's good. Did they date? Well, I saw that one TikTok, right, where someone saw them in a restaurant together. So they could have been just friends, but it kind of sounds like if they've talked about it 100 times, it sounds like they probably did date.
Ultimately, she has feelings. It made her feel a certain type of way, and she has the right to speak up on that. She's not in the wrong for saying it, but I just didn't love the fashion how it came up.
Me neither, my guy. Me neither. That was awful.
Good. That was great. He was assertive. You know, I predicted this diplomatic response, but you could argue that doesn't allow for him to speak his piece, and he did. And then he didn't avoid. You know, that's a thing. And then she is not making excuses. I thought she would, but she's not. That's great. And you believe her, right? Because the way she's not saying, I take full responsibility. You hear it in her. Sincerity is something you can't really put your finger on, but when you see it, you see it. And that's in the realm of believability, because she's like, oh, me neither, my guy, me neither. That was awful. You know, verbatim, said a different way, me neither, my guy. You feel the regret and the remorse and the understanding of the transgression. That's an apology. You notice there's nothing in here that says, I am sorry. But within this is a real apology.
Jimmy, looking back on that, do you think that was a defining moment in your guys' relationship together?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see it in my eyes when I'm speaking. Everything after that, you know, we were kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that's entirely true. I could see how he would really key in on that, because it's a very stark event to point to that there really isn't any excuse for. And in reality, it was a number of things that were happening, right? But those things are harder to put your finger on and say that was wrong that she did. Right. I mean, that's got to be it, because I can't imagine if everything was fine and then she did that. But you could also imagine that would really loom large, and you know, you could draw some conclusions and some, you know, because it's like, wait, so you're capable of that? I trusted you. We talked about you not telling anyone about that, and I was vulnerable. I laid it on. I didn't have to. It's understood, right, that this was a pretty vulnerable thing, and there's someone else involved. That you're capable of doing that. It says a lot about what you're capable of, and or the way she was saying it, why she was saying it, could be very, very hurtful, and you could, you know, any last flame could be snuffed out in that moment.
And it's easy to see in hindsight what was the right decision, and the right decision would have been for me to let you go at that point. But I drug it on partially because we loved each other so much.
Yeah, I don't blame him. It was a lot briefer than what most people do. People will stay in that state that Jimmy was in for years, and I don't even blame them, because it's hard to know if it's the right time or it's normal to avoid. I don't recommend it. Plus, you don't necessarily know for sure. You're like, well, maybe, you know, I don't want to do anything in haste. Let's give it he gave it a week, and then he baited her and then broke up with her.
I'm curious to hear from everybody else up here, because you guys all got to watch their story kind of unfold in real time, but then watching it back and seeing more of what happened behind closed doors, did it change your perception of them as a couple?
Wait, so does the audience have to sign an NDA? Because they're being revealed what ends up happening. And this happened before the weddings being aired. All right, so everyone would have to sign an NDA. That's pretty bold, right? It's pretty risky to trust all those people, because, you know, for some, it's a really important leak. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious what people say to this. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get disappointed. Either they just won't say much, and there's really no reason, right? I guess if I were another cast member, I just wouldn't say anything. It's like they've got to figure. I don't need to add anything to that.
It did for me a little bit. I know Chelsea is so fun and bubbly and outgoing and just carefree, and to see her like that way and like the insecurities be highlighted like that was really, really, really tough to watch.
Wow, good on AD actually. Yeah, because they've had a year of friendship until watching those scenes, right? And I think AD is exhibiting what I hope Jessica does as well, instead of, because the way Jessica was taught, and maybe Jessica has T or something, or that's what they say, right? T, that for Jessica had the Nick Vile show, which I think was recorded before before she was given a chance to maybe see those. Right. So anyway, and what AD is saying is, in person, you're bubbly, and that's true. Even when Chelsea is talking about very difficult things, that defense kicks in and she's really happy and everything's fine, even though the eyes are telling you pain, the face is telling you lightness, which I don't blame her. I think she was forced to do that as a kid, and it kind of gets like, it's similar to how, I think I said this at the time, it's a known thing that as a therapist, we will have some clients that will tell you about the deepest, darkest traumas they've been through, and they'll laugh. And it explains to me how I would go to a movie and we would watch a very difficult scene that was not funny in the least. And there would be usually a guy, would just be bursting out in laughter. And I'd be like, what is wrong with that guy? But then you understand where people come from, and those wires get crossed. It's a genuine laugh and a genuine smile and a genuine lightness, but those neurons had to be robust to make sure that they stayed safe. Because some kids are abused harshly if they don't present that way. Anyway, AD is saying, it was surprising to me because I thought you didn't have that side to you, and then seeing it, that was really tough to watch. Yeah, that's a really good, honest answer. And I think AD is still friends with Chelsea. So I like this nuance, this honesty. I'm selling people short because, typically these things will fall by, like the Cole situation, aside from Brennan, landed just gender-wise. All the guys were, I think, on Cole's side, and all the women were on Zenib's side. And it just points to the possibility that everyone is biased just because of that's my friend or that's my gender or something. And so AD is completely breaking from that pattern, which, is commendable. It's okay to stay friends with her and to say like, whoa, that was tough, meaning I don't think you were fair.
Watch, because we don't know that side of you. We know a very confident, very proud woman. And so to see like you kind of go through that emotional roller coaster that was wild to watch.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah.
Jessica, hey girl.
Yeah, another good moment on the show that they just had. I have high hopes for Chelsea. I think there's a chance that she's on the road to healing. I hope. I really do, and I won't go over the whole thing, but I have been very close to people that present with the behavior that she has that provokes me to have an hypothesis like the one that I have had. I have been in the trenches with these individuals, people of all genders, by the way, and have really struggled. I mean, the drama and the intensity of those sessions, I mean, it's indescribable. It's like nothing else. In the beginning of my career, I thought, man, like they should make a movie about this is before In Treatment was a TV show. And that gets to it a little bit because, the whole episode, at least in the beginning, is just a full session or a truncated session. And I thought this should be into a movie or a TV show or something. But then I would watch videotapes of my sessions, because you do that, and I'd say, oh, you can't, from the outside, you don't feel it. You just don't. When you're in it, it's intense, and when you're just watching it, it can look like the most boringest thing ever. And so I've been in those trenches with clients, and those relationships can last for years, and I am working my ass off, and there's a lot of emotion that I go through and a lot of ups and downs that I go through. And when those corrective experiences start to take hold and they start to show in outcomes and symptom reduction and generalize to their working models in the real world, and you start seeing all those things, and I would see that all the time, it's a very gratifying thing. And a big part of my motivation is deep compassion and care and love for this other human being. as a therapist. So when I see Chelsea, that's what I feel. It is hopes and dreams and, you know, like I want her to have that healing experience and to go through that. And it's not, it's, you know, I say healing and that sounds nice, right? It's like, oh, healing. No, it's ugly. It's hard. It is a struggle. Half the time, clients in this category hate me and are blaming me for every single problem in their life and telling me that they're going to sue me and get my license taken. I mean, I'm exaggerating to some extent, but you know, that does happen. Telling me I've failed them and I'm a terrible human being and I obviously don't care about them, you know, which is the direct opposite of what I'm doing. And it's ugly. It's rough. But, you know, they hang in there. They keep coming. There's a part of them that feels taken care of and loved. And even though they're very suspicious and terrified of it because that's what was shown to them growing up. And so when I see Chelsea, I want her to have that. And I hope that she has a therapist that is giving that to her if my hypothesis is right, which I have no idea. All right, well, let's adjourn there. I'll continue watching the reunion next time. Until then, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.